Hello, Bella. It's Tuesday, January 31st. It's actually Sunday, but I just finished The Fault in Our Stars, and I thought that I would do a little review of it. I know that you probably haven't finished it yet, and I tried very hard in this video not to spoil anything for you. Really, I'm just reviewing my thoughts on it and the perspective and all of that. I'm not actually really giving anything away. I was very careful to give away any of the storyline. Don't worry, just watch it for my review and not for what may happen in the book or what does happen in the book. So I hope you enjoy it. I really loved it very much. So one of my favorite parts about this newer John Green book is I think that normally he writes from the perspective of a very, very geeky boy, and it's always kind of, sometimes the boy characters can be very similar to one another, and so I think this book was really different because it was a female character and she wasn't necessarily geeky, you know, that wasn't really what her shtick was, and so it was a lot different from what his other books were, and so I really, really loved that he sort of went in a bit of a different direction. It was, of course, very sad, but one of my favorite parts was the character of Hazel. I thought that she was a really great character, and I think she becomes more apparent the longer that you read it, and especially when you finish the book. It is an obsession with most people that we want to be loved very much, and we want to make our mark, and we want to make a difference, we want to change something, we want to be remembered, and all of these things, and I love how Augustus compares it, you know, in the end, after he has time to think about it, and his thoughts are that it's almost like we're leaving a scar rather than a mark on it, and he talks about, and I love, the thing that I love most about the character of Hazel is that when he's describing her as somebody who doesn't want to do that. He's describing her as somebody who, he talks about her, you know, not to get all quotey with you, but he talks about her as being somebody who treads very lightly, and she is loved very deeply rather than loved very widely, and that was, I really, really like that comparison, you know, of being somebody who's loved very deeply but not very widely. The path that she cuts in life is very small, and so she isn't necessarily going to be remembered, and she's okay with that, you know, because you're from her perspective, and you know, you see that she's okay with that. She's okay with not being widely remembered. She even describes herself as being a grenade, and she, you know, when she dies, she doesn't want all of this shrapnel hitting everybody else in her life and hurting them as well. And I love that about her character. Her character is such a great character because there's something very selfless about that, and something very realistic about being sick and being somebody who you're not really going to have this really, really long, healthy life. You are eventually going to, you know, fizzle out. In this video, I do mean to talk about how interesting it is to read from the perspective of somebody who is sick, because of course, being on the other side when you are the healthy person, losing somebody who's sick, you don't feel like they're a grenade at all. You want to spend as much time with them as you possibly can, and hold on to any piece of thing that of them that you have, really, because you know that the time is very short, and you just kind of want to punch them in the face when they start talking about how they don't want to hurt you, and time is very, very limited. I mean, not to quote Wuthering Heights compared to this, but I'm saying it's oftentimes like how Heathcliff is talking to Catherine's ghost, saying, you know, drive me mad, you know, don't ever leave me type thing. That's often how we feel about the sick and the dying. Horrible Wuthering Heights impression. Yes, I know. I was just trying to get my point across. You're the Wuthering Heights guru. Don't take that personal. I know it was crap. Move on. And of course the book was very sad, but I liked it also for that, because I think that too often we are reluctant to read something that is incredibly sad like this, and you know, and it even is telling where the characters call themselves, you know, they're the side effects of society, you know, they're the side effects of the things the mutations that didn't work out, you know, that are sort of, you know, that are very sick and they can't really go and do what the rest of us can. One of my favorite parts of the book is when Augustus is writing to Peter Van Houten, and he says, okay, maybe I'm not a shitty writer, but I can pull my ideas, but I can't pull my ideas together, Van Houten. My thoughts are stars I can't fathom into constellations, which is very funny, because it often feels that way. Sometimes when you sort of want to tell a story, you want to say something, and you have all these different parts, but you can't really seem to pull them together, and I liked how he compared it to it them being all stars that he can't pull into a constellation. I thought that was very funny. It was a very clever way to say something, to say that. It was a very clever way to say that. Another really good funny part was when Peter Van Houten was randomly in Hazel's car, and he kind of like pops up out of nowhere, and you know, she's like, oh my god, you know, what are you doing here? I'm gonna call 911. What's your problem? And Peter Van Houten was just like, if there was only one. A few notes on this video. One, yes, my glasses are incredibly crooked. I don't know how the fuck it happened, but I need new ones anyway, so I figure it's not even worth it just to get them fixed. And two, that weird, horrible humming is my computer fan kicking on, and I don't know really how to avoid that. I'm working on it, so sorry about that. So that was my review, my semi-review of Fault in Our Stars. I'll have more to say on it after you've read it and know the whole story so that we can sort of pick it apart, but that is kind of my basic idea of it. I loved it a lot. John Green is amazing. So I guess I will see you later. Hopefully, of course it's Sunday, hopefully by Tuesday I will have seen your video yesterday, Monday, or we'll see it tomorrow. I don't know, hopefully it gets figured out. So, goodbye.